tide is rolling in. It's time to make the jump. Yesterday, I had an epiphany. Like usual, sitting out on the beach, observing nature. And the tide is rolling in right now, and it is allowing us to jump timelines. And we have to think differently about the reality that we're in, the ways of life. And if we're thinking that we're just in a solid reality, we don't kind of get the bigger picture. And, you know, we're not out of the reality looking into it to observe all the little nooks and crannies and the way that it behaves. And sometimes in our everyday life, we're going to have to observe something, and then we're going to have to apply it to maybe a bigger part of the equation. And the tide is rolling in right now, and it's going to allow us to move forward. You know, sometimes on your journey, you might have experienced this over the course of the past few years. And you were making gains, and you were swimming around, you were flowing like never before, and then all of a sudden, there wasn't a lot for you to do. You almost were in isolation. You didn't have a very far place to venture outward. And you had to wait until the energies were conducive for your growth and expansion. In today's lesson, I'm going to explain to all of you, the tide is rolling in. It's time to jump the timeline. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, could you kindly hit the like button? I'm very grateful for that. It helps others find this very powerful message. If you're new to the channel, I'm Michael. I discuss the ascension journey, and I make it relevant for everyday life people. There are only certain times when we can make the jump. So you might experience this. You might be, putting in work on a daily basis. You are, working on improving and, your ascension process and raising your vibrational frequency. But it's not an everyday thing. Sometimes it doesn't matter what you do. You kind of are a little stagnant. Jeffrey, thank you so much for that, brother. And that's because we have to ride the waves that are much bigger than us. So we live in this reality and start thinking that this is not a physical reality, but a sea of energy. Tesla called it the ether. And there is an energy that's out there. And this electromagnetic wave, it's flooded. And then sometimes the wave or the tide pulls back. And I had this epiphany yesterday while I was out on the beach. And the tide was going to low tide. It was pulling way back, and the beach, the way that it's shaped, there was a low point, and when the tide pulled all the way back, it made like a little pond, a little lake there, and within this little lake, this little pond that was isolated from the tide that pulled all the way back, there was a school of little fish, and the little fish were swimming around in this little lake that was separate from the massive ocean. And these fish were going to have to sit in this area until the tide comes back. So there's not much that they could do. They have a little area, and then all of a sudden, when that tide will become high again, it's going to allow them to jump or to move to a different location. It's going to allow them, the bridge, right? The bridge to Asgard, right? It's going to be open. The portal is going to be open. The window of opportunity. Hey guys, let's swim out of here. Now we can go wherever we want. But, and that represents the world that we're in. There are certain times that we can flow freely, and there are certain times the tide, and we kind of got like little stuck. And that's the representation of maybe what has happened in the seasons of the past few years. I know, I'm sure there's many people that have stumbled across this world famous video, and you're saying to yourself, you know what, the last few years, I might have been in a period of more introspection. I was really focused on myself. I wasn't, going out and, meeting everyone, and maybe had a small group of friends, like that little school of fish. They didn't have all the fish, just a small group of friends. And you didn't have access to everything. You had to let it marinate. You had to sit with it until the tide comes back in. Now the whole ocean is available to us, and now we don't want to just sit there. If you need to start swimming, you need to start moving, you need to start flowing. And that is the representation of what we're kind of experiencing. There's only so much that you could do at that time. We are operating out of this plane of existence. I know there's many people that are tuned in. You know that you're much more than this physical body, right? As I said a long time ago, I am not this body. I am the energy that operates the body. Some of you might go out and, you're in the astral plane, you're lucid dreaming, you're going all around, right? But when we are in this physical reality, the game of life, if you will, there's only so much that we could do operating out of the plane of existence that we're in. So just like the wave that comes in, right, that is going to now allow the fish to escape that little lake, that little pond that they're in, that the low point of the beach formed. Now they could join with their rest of the friends. Now they could go out and explore the universe. That's what it's about. It's about leaving the old and moving towards the new. This is the true ascension that we're going towards. If you're here for true ascension, why don't you write true ascension in the comment section? We are leaving the old, for a couple of hours, right? And for us, in our lifespan, it could be a year. It could be a full year. For a couple of hours, these fish, they had to stay in this area. And now they have the opportunity to leave the old and move towards the new, the abundance. In abundance, they could swim, they could go explore, they could do whatever they want. They could have more fish friends. They have all these fish friends. They have so much more. The answer is now we can move forward. That's where we are right now. If you're ready to move forward, hit that like button. I'm very grateful for that. Now we can move forward. That's the time period we're in. The fish, they might be stuck there for hours. You say, I can't believe this. They can't go anywhere. But now you have to now we can move forward. Let's move, because if you sit there for a couple hours, the tide is going to pull back again. Ask yourself this question. What are the things that you have been putting off? It's time to take care of them now. Once again, what are the things that you have been putting off? You sit there, you think about it. Let it marinate. And now it's time to take care of them. In order to achieve balance and alignment in our everyday lives, we have to flow with the energies. There are certain things that we can control. They are within us. We can't control the exterior. But what we can do is know how to ride the wave. And God knows when it's time to rest. We might approach a time period by the end of this year. We're going to be so busy. There's so much to do. There's so many new people. There's so much to get out. It's like go, go, go. So there's a time for this and a time for that. Maybe when those fish were caught in that little lake area, they got really close with other fish that were all swimming around in that little lake, and you were collaborating, and you got real close, and you made lifetime friends. And that's actually the problem with the world. A lot of you see this. You know, there's people on social media, they think they have quote-unquote friends. They have no clue who they are. We got to get back to the basics. We have to remember, you know, like the way that life was. You might be getting this message. This might resonate with you. You could see people out there. They don't know how to socialize anymore. They don't have social skills anymore. Does that resonate with you? You can hit the starburst in the chat if that's on point. We have to get back to getting close again. We have to get back to humans and love and all the things of the past. I'm just reading the chat. Hit 555 if you hear me crystal clear. We are live. I don't know if we're glitching. But that 555, we're hitting the fifth dimension right now. It's a higher plane of existence. You could do so much more. A fish in that lake, it could only do so much. Then when the tide comes in, it could do so much more. I use the example too. That's why a caterpillar wants to go through transmutation. I believe that's going to be a very powerful video tomorrow on this channel page. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. I have something waiting. It's so good. It's great. No, there's transmutation. So that caterpillar, it says, I can only crawl on the floor. I can only crawl on the floor. Then it's going to have to go through the pain. Then it's going to have to go through the suffering. Then it's going to have to go through the Heinrich metamorphosis. Then it's going to have to be refined in the Holy Spirit fire. And then after it goes all through the pain, all through the liquefaction of its insides, it sprouts these beautiful wings, and now it can fly to a higher plane of existence. That's your ascension. There is no more lack and limitation. Sometimes we think, there's only so much that we could do. There's only so much we could have, that lack and limitation. You are able to rise higher than ever before. You are able to explore like never before. The energy right now is allowing us to jump the timeline. So think of that, not a tsunami wave coming in, but an electromagnetic wave of energy that is amplifying. It's amplifying our voice. It's amplifying our reach. It's amplifying. It's happening right now. We are in this energy right now. However, it doesn't just happen. If you decide to sit there, then you sit there. The timeline is not a line, it is a spiral. And that's why you might be getting this message and you say, hey, wait a minute. I kind of had an experience very similar to this, or this keeps popping up in my life. Well, the answer is, did you learn from it so that you could expand to, and now you don't have to repeat it anymore. If it comes back again, then you just stay there. If you come back and you're able to overcome it, you will expand outward. That is the ascension process. We are expanding in all directions, like that spiral is expanding in all directions. Sometimes we get stuck there. And sometimes we have to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until we get it right. Sometimes we have to repeat it constantly until we get it right. It's Earth School Finals, Ethereal Seer writes. Yeah, it's the finals. We're in the finals right now. We're in the finals. Rochelle, thank you so much for that, Rochelle. I appreciate you very much. We all put things off. And that's why you have to know thyself. It's so important to know thyself. Like, there are things that I knew I had to say, you know what? I need to handle this right now, this time, this month. We're in a very powerful portal. We're in eclipse season right now. We have powerful eclipses. It's time to hit the reset button. But utilize these things. Don't just, you want to manifest things, you have to find that intersection where there is conscious thought, but there's radical action. And you need to have that action. Action. We want action. ACT. Someone remembers that song. No, you need action, though. There's got to be action. Otherwise, you're just sitting there. You could have great potential. What is that? That's potential energy. That's stored energy. That energy needs to go. There might be something that's brewing inside of you. It's brewing, baby. And whatever that is that's brewing inside of you, it needs to come out. It needs to come out to the world. Otherwise, it's just sitting there. That's that potential energy. It's just sitting there. Let's make it kinetic. Let's get up and let's take care of the things that we have been putting off. Last night, I wrote a few things that I have to take care of in my life. I say, if I don't write it down, I don't take care of it right now, then the time is going to pass. It's going to make it harder. Sometimes we wait too long. It's going to make it harder. Oh, I should have done it already. Hit the like button if that resonates. That's how you have to approach this time period. Stop putting things off to tomorrow, which you could do today. You could understand the timeline jump if you don't see this as just standing on a physical rock. But we are in a wave of energy. And sometimes the energy comes in and it allows us to do things. You could feel it inside your body. That's why we have ascension symptoms. We are a representation of the collective. Sometimes the collective feels cut off. Look at the world. Look at the past few years. It's been very stagnant. We've been kind of sitting with it. Now it's time for expansion. It's time to move forward. So think about those fish that got trapped in the low tide and they couldn't move anywhere, those fish. But now when the tide comes rolling in, now they could go out and spread out. But if they just sit in the same location, several hours later, they will get trapped again. Don't put things off any longer. Take care of them now. Take care of them now. Do it now. Come on, do it now. Yeah, you got to do it now. There's only so much we could do as, the human structure that we're living in. But we can't allow opportunities. We can't allow life to pass us by. So knowing that there's a time for this, there's a time for introspection. There's a time for clearing. I've been talking about my fasting journey. Sometimes we have to go through that, and then we can move forward. And then we can, if we have to fast, we might have to lose weight, and then we could worry about gaining it at a later time. Because there's too many things going on. You have to operate with laser pinpoint accuracy. If you're healing something, if you're focused on something, you want all your energy to be focused on that one thing. And that's where greatness is. You could focus on one thing, you could take care of it, and then you could move your attention. What's your attention? It's the currency of the universe. And that's why it's also good to do a round robin of your attention. That builds your neuroplasticity. So we also don't want to do the same thing over and over again. Sometimes it's good to build routines and rituals, but every once in a while, we need to shake things up again. The tide is rolling in. Are you ready to spread out? It's time to spread your wings and fly. If you find this message interesting and you would like to learn more about our reality in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, why don't you click subscribe, give the video a like so it becomes visible to more people, and please share with one other person, because when we all share with one other person, we will rapidly grow our 5D community. I appreciate each and every one of you. Comment down below. Do you feel like it's time to expand? Are you going to tackle things that you have been putting off? Do them now. Do them now. When you do them now, you're going to feel so much lighter. You could feel it brewing inside of you. Oh, I need to take care of this. And it's kind of sitting in the back burner on your brain. You don't want to have these things. You want to focus on things. Take care of the clutter. Take care of things so you can say, all right, I'm done with it. I can move on. I'm not trapped in the past. We have Facebook, TikTok, and Patreon. We have brand new posts on all of the platforms. And remember that you are in control. No one else is in control of you. You have to make conscious decisions. True ascension is an inside job. You have to get up, start swimming, start flying, start transmuting, whatever it is you need to do. You have to make that conscious decision to do it now. And the energies are very powerful and conducive for this expansion in the now moment. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please share this. Head over to the channel page. We had very powerful videos all week long. That first playlist will help you catch up if you are new to the channel. Hit me up on Facebook, and our Facebook community is growing like never before. You have the power, the potential. Don't let it go to waste. Don't just sit there, because the next cycle, the Hermetic principle of rhythm, you got to know these things, guys. You got to know these things. The Hermetic principle of rhythm, everything has its ebbs and flows. The tides roll in and out. So once it comes in, let's move. Let's go. I am the defender of our everyday lives. No matter what comes your way, light warriors, just keep going. I love you all. See you tomorrow. Keep going, kid.